Hello, this is Mike Van Pelt, and Tony Soyak asked me to put together a bit of a review and the way to set up the performance class Infinite Campus. I'm going to assume that you can get to this point in your gradebook for an individual class. You open up the settings area, and the first thing, of course, you need to do is set up your grade calc options. That's exactly as you did with the trainers. Set everything up for the proficiency scale in the term standards, and in the grading tasks it's an in-progress grade and traditional scale all the way down for that. That makes everything else fit into what it's supposed to be. The next step you have to do is go to categories, and I'm going to show you the categories that I've got set up. I'm going to attach a separate video for putting them together, but the categories are all going to be based on the High School Infinite Campus Course Standard template. Now, it's been revised just a little bit. The one that was online before had a lot of repeats and stuff that was inappropriate. So this is a slightly expanded one. You'll notice that we still have that standard 10 that we added last year for the musicianship practices. That includes performing in the ensemble, especially in concerts, appropriate prep for the rehearsals, and concert rehearsal etiquette. That allows you to have a meaningful weekly practice report rather than just, they were here. Otherwise, it covers the next categories: performance technique for in the ensemble, the musical relationships, etc., individual development, and then 5A, B, and C, which are independent study or improv and composition or oral training and theory, and then a sixth one for weekly lessons and sectionals. I'm going to use this for my traveling music teachers' grades and the sectional grades that I lead for those kids who don't have lessons. So now to go to setup in categories. You'll notice that I have one specific evidence category. That's what I will use on the final when I'm building my assignments. I will have a total of 4 of these. One for the interim for term 1, one for term 1, one for the interim of term 2, and then of course term 2. I also put an evidence category for lessons, which will be the global lesson grade, again from my TMTs or from my sectionals. Then we have the 6 categories here. So let's set up the evidence first. Under evidence, you should have clicked set this up as evidence, weighted as 1.0 and 1 in the sequence. Check it for all your studies. Don't worry about the grayed out stuff. As you scroll down, you'll notice that everything is clicked except for high school effort, of course, and the umbrella listings. So you want every possible standard on this so that you can grade all of these. You're going to be looking at your gradebook, your practice standards, your practice assignments as your little red class record book, and then you'll be assigning a holistic global grade to that in evidence. It's about as close as you can get to real standards-based grading with this system. Down here, you need to make sure that that is checked under course evidence. You hit save, of course, and close. Just so that you can see what I have for lessons also, as I also included that as an evidence category with a 1.0 weight. Again, that is going to cover the things that are most important for lessons. The 4 universals, again not clicking the umbrellas, and then improvising, analyzing, describing, and then the individual development. Since all of my classes are instrumental classes, I didn't click the singing one for obvious reasons. Now to go into what the practice categories are, and they all have a star next to them because they're weighted 0 and they're all marked with the exclude. I'm going to go through each of these and show you what was clicked for each one. You give it a title. In this case, I'm using exactly what I have on the listing there. Give it a weight of 0. Give it a sequence 2 just to keep it out of the way. Make sure you've clicked exclude from calculation. I clicked umbrellas for these. That's the main thing these are aimed at. So I clicked the 3 universals that fit mostly to the musicianship practices. I clicked the umbrella for musicianship practices. And then I set this in the interim progress report. I know I'm going through this quickly, but you can rewind easily enough. So again, you've got the name, the weight, the sequence, exclude from calculation. I click knowing and understanding, developing skills, and responding, because thinking creatively doesn't 100% fit into ensemble performance. It does a little bit. If you want to add it, you could. Then I clicked musicianship practices, the umbrella for that. Hit save and closed. The second one, ensemble performance technique, which I differentiate from individual. It's also on the high school standards. Again, weight of 0, sequence 2, exclude from calculation. You can leave them all sequence 2 because you have numbers up here that will keep them in the right order. Again, I clicked the universals that fit to this, which is actually all 4. And then I clicked the umbrella for performance technique. And again, click the interim progress report. Number 3, MRAD, which, for those of you that may not remember, is musical relationships, analysis, and description. So again, you give it the title, weight at 0, sequence 2, exclude from calculation. Knowing and understanding, thinking creatively, which is mainly through this, and then responding, constructing meaning and transferring, critiquing artwork of self and others, etc. Click the umbrella for musical relationships, analysis, and description, and the interim progress report. Individual development is the student individual, hence the name development. Same everything else. All 4 of the universal standards apply, the umbrellas. And for individual development, I did click improv and composition, musical relationships, and individual development just because in one-on-one work with the kids, these are the things that I think would be covered mostly. Independent study is a catch-all. If you have one kid who wants to study something else, who wants to go along further, if you've got everybody has to pick a project to do, that's what independent study is for. Again, the same heading type things. Should not have high school effort on there. The 4 universal umbrellas. And again, I checked improv and composition, musical relationships, analysis and description, and individual development. "5B" is for when we're teaching improv or composition in our performance classes, for when it supports the music or the stuff that we're working on. Again, this covers the 4 universal umbrellas. Check improv and then musical relationships, because that will come very deeply into improv and composition. Again, check the interim progress report. Oral training and theory, for those of us that teach that in class, we all know we all should. We all know how hard that is. Set it up the same way. Again, for the time being, checking improv and composition and MRAD. Hopefully we'll have this one on by itself later. check the interim progress report, and close. Weekly lessons and sectionals is where the grade for my TMTs or my own sectionals go. The 4 universals, and then individual development. Again, check interim progress report. That's your category list. Now you need to go back and set up your assignment list. They tell you to have a minimum of 3 evidences. Actually, at my school, most of us have gone to 4 minimum evidences, and we aligned them with the grading structures so that we can show a progression of grade while still staying with the SBG formats. So we have 4 evidences, one for the Term 1 interim, one for Term 1, one for the Term 2 interim, and one for Term 2. I have a 5th one, that's lessons and sectionals, and that will be my final grade, the overall holistic grade of their kids' lessons and sectionals for the whole semester. To set these up, you go to an evidence, give it your name and title, check your date so it's at the end of the semester, which is January 22nd, 15. That's all the way you've been shown. Then of course you've got to go through and literally check every one of these, and I'm showing you how this lays out. Check each one, what marks you want to use. We've been giving it 100 so it makes sense percentage-wise when people think about it. And you want to check every subheading there is. Not the umbrellas, but every subheading. All is evidence. And you don't do anything in the grading task. Again, you're going through this really quickly, but I will have one that's specifically for evidence. I will go through each one very slowly. Now the nice thing about this, of course, is that you can just copy these. You don't have to repeat everything, checking every one of those. You should have already been shown how to do that. You click the copy, retitle it, and then you can get each one as you need it. You would just click copy, and then retitle up here and save. I did that for my 4 normal evidences for the Term 1 interim, Term 2, Term 1, Term 2 interim, and then the Term 2. As I said, I also included my lesson here in my overall assignment list for the grading, for evidences. It's a cumulative semester grade. Yeah, you can read that just as well as I can read it to you. Went through and clicked umbrella ones for this. Weekly lessons of sectionals, set it up as a rubric because that's how it's going to be scored. And saved. I hope this helps in the long run for setting this up. I will have separate videos posted here also momentarily for how to do each individual assignment, including practice assignments, and what each of the evidences are, one at a time. If you have any questions, please call me at 65035 507-1408, or my email is vanpemr. Thank you.